Hello everyone, it's been a bit. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is going to be another episode that is featuring the creator of this iceberg, Mark from Mark's Mediocre Productions. Thank you for showing them support last episode. I was kinda worried because I don't know how much this audience of mine tolerates change. Either way, it'll be back to my solo commentary after this episode, which means hopefully videos can come out more frequently. And I know I say it each episode, but let's hope it's true this time. But before we begin, I want to touch up on a few things. There was some confusion about me saying Mushba is CEO of itemLabel. If I remember my words correctly, I said something like Mushba founded itemLabel and co-owns it. The truth is, it's hard to find exactly who's in charge of what at the company, nor does it really matter from the audience's position. I'm pretty sure that Mushba was at least there at the beginning of the company, but it's very probable that he had help co-founding the company itself. In fact, we see other store owners on the Discord such as Marmot and Mr. Big Value. And something on a related note, something I forgot to mention while covering itemMouse is their title of CEO in the itemLabel universe. And because we do not know the true CEO of itemLabel, or if there is one in the real world, we do not know if this itemLabel universe CEO transfers to the real world itemLabel CEO. If that makes sense. This is just speculative, but in my mind, CEO itemMouse is a character in the itemLabel universe. I think this because CEO itemMouse has fantasy elements to their character, such as being able to talk to small creatures and being very small. But honestly, I don't think that's anything to get hung up about. If anyone wants to prove me wrong about anything I just said, or if the store owners want to clear this up themselves, even though in my opinion it's not very important for our role as an audience to know the politics of the company, then go for it. Anyway, that should be it. Sorry for the confusion about that, guys. Let's hear it from Mark.
Back at it again. This is Mark's Mediocre Productions, here to do part 4 of the iceberg before the recording goes back to Spasmodius. There's just two things I want to say before this iceberg starts. One, there isn't any concrete canon for itemLabel lore, so don't take most of this as fact. This is just, a thing. And then two, please watch the other 3 parts. Spaz has done a really good job with this iceberg series. Okay, I think that's it, so I'll get to the tiers. Mr. Item was a mascot for itemLabel before the plushies were introduced. You can buy a pair of socks with him, and I think he might have had a few patches, but he's mostly faded to obscurity.
As Mark said, Mr. Item has only really shown up in a couple products, but the product description of Mr. Item socks names Mr. Item as official mascot. And believe it or not, Fishcar was not always the primary mascot or logo. itemLabel has actually gone through several logo changes across their early history, and Mr. Item was the face of one of them.
In May of this year, the website got redesigned. It kinda sucks in both good and bad ways. I kinda like the 90s sketchy website vibe it has going on, but you can't see the prices on the images until you click on them. Strangely enough, I discovered that you can actually still view them in high contrast mode. Why?
Oh, I have a lot to talk about this. It's going to be apparent very soon, but I do not like the design, and I feel really nostalgic for the old design. But I don't think it's completely nostalgia, and I don't think it's just because I'm a person who doesn't like change, but that could certainly be an influence to my opinion. Anyway, like Mark said, you can no longer see the price of products, which is unfortunate. But in addition to this, you can't see whether it's in stock or not, or even the name of the product. It's just so strange for me from a design and marketing choice. If you have this product that you want to sell, why wouldn't you include at least some information on a first glance, especially something as important as the name of your product? And yes, I know, you can just click on the product and it'll open up the page for that item, but in my opinion, I miss the fluency of the old site where it felt like I was browsing a store. Now it feels more like a scavenger hunt for the stuff I want to look for. And what about for the folks with slow internet? Is it really that practical to make them wait 5 seconds just to see if an item is in stock or not? I don't think that was an issue with the layout before, and I've actually heard people complain about this. In my opinion, you should have more information of a product than just a picture before you have to commit to clicking on something. But maybe Jeff Bezos spoiled us with Amazon. Also, this dumb banner at the top doesn't go away. I actually measured it and it takes up almost a third of my screen. And the search tabs are spread out in like a hexagonal pattern. Why are they so far apart? Again, it's so weird from a marketing point of view. Why have 1/3 of your precious screen real estate be used up by something so easily compactable such as a search function? It would be like if YouTube's front page looked like this. Now, this wouldn't be an issue at all if it didn't follow you everywhere. If you scroll down on this page, the top bar follows you, covering up products that you may be interested in looking at. And speaking of not being able to see the products, the product images are so big that you can only see a few on the screen at a time. Like, I don't think they need to be that big. I don't think itemLabel's demographic is boomers who have their font size on their phones up to 100. But hey, I could be totally wrong about that. I don't really know how to explain it, but it feels so squished. There are only 3 products you can fully see at a time, and they span across the screen horizontally. But since they don't have as much relative vertical room, it gives the impression that they're being flattened. And that isn't the best way to display your products. Scrolling down on itemLabel's front page is like trying to read a long CVS receipt with a magnifying glass while squinting so you can only read one line at a time. Also, the newsletter is annoying. I know this is common with like every website in 2022, but I'm not a fan. I signed up for the newsletter, but I still get disrupted to join it. But that's probably a me problem because I do all my shopping in incognito mode to avoid targeted advertising, but it always feels like a bummer when it happens. Still, I understand the necessity of it from a business perspective. My guess from all of this is that they try to make the website more mobile friendly. This will explain the large pictures, rows with only 3, and general crowded feel, but why would you have to make it incompatible on desktop? Most big websites have both mobile version and a desktop version that gets displayed based off the device that is getting connected to it. So why not have something that looks good on desktop and keep whatever this is on mobile? I just checked and I've been roasting their website for the past 4 minutes. itemLabel, I'm sorry, but I really hope it gets an update soon. Maybe they made it bad on purpose for the aesthetic, but if so, staying true whatever aesthetic this is not worth the sacrifice of having a good user interface. Not to mention one of your main channels to connecting with your consumers and getting sales. But I want to be clear, this is all my opinion and pettiness. Don't get mad about it just because I'm mad about it. And to be fair, I'm being a lot more dramatic than I should be about this. I just care a lot about user interface, that's all. If you're making a website that is going to be viewed by tons of people, why not make it pleasing and comfortable? Okay, sorry, that ends my rant about this.
Some early theories about PP being an alternate reality game, but it's been confirmed that it is not an ARG, and most of these theories have basically just died. I mean, there was like that egg hunt thing that was kind of like an ARG, but it only went on for like a day. And the USP had just like some video teasers and a whole file dedicated to just Panera Bread. Panera Bread's good though, so I don't blame them.
And just to give context for those who don't know, as Mark said, ARG stands for Alternate Reality Game. Essentially, it's a series of online puzzles, clues, hints for the viewer audience to solve and interact with. It has a reputation of being scary, but it doesn't have to be. So, as you could have guessed based on what you could infer about ARG culture, a lot of people from there looked at itemLabel, saw the obscurity of it, and wondered if it was an ARG that they could quote-unquote solve. But in truth, itemLabel is not something to be solved. Sure, creators give us lore drops every once in a while, but there is never really a need to get out the corkboard and yarn to prove a giant conspiracy. It's just about some little funny characters. I explained this more all the way back at the beginning of part 1, but there is no itemLabel ARG. Just take it for what it is, a silly little web store. However, Sterling, a moderator and community manager, did do a Discord event that was like an ARG. This was just for fun, and I don't think it's canon, or if it is, it's not very important, and I was actually planning on covering it in this video, but skimming over it, there's a lot of content I would need to sift through. If I decide to cover it, it's probably going to be its own video, so let me know if you'd like to see that.
This one is pretty simple. Wee Wee is a blind bag series, so people get a lot of duplicates, so they trade Wee Wees on a unofficial Wee Wee Discord server that Spaz briefly talked about in part 2.
However, I just want to mention a couple things about item label trading. Now, if you're in the item label community, there's a large chance that you're in the item label Discord server. Please do not facilitate trading on that server. itemLabel is not responsible for any trades gone wrong and cannot moderate those sorts of interactions. Because of this, any organization of trades on that server is prohibited. This is just kind of a warning because they, for a good reason, take this thing very seriously. It used to be that itemLabel officials were okay with trading as long as it didn't take place on any official forums like their Discord, but recently they've been more adamant about discouraging folks from trading online. Now, a reason why they've been less flexible is probably because of their growth. It is clear that itemLabel attracts a lot of children to the community, so itemLabel really doesn't want to be involved with any children being encouraged to share real-life information that could compromise their safety. And yes, that is a bad idea. If you're a child, you should not be handing out your information to people that you meet online. However, as a moderator on the unofficial trading server, it is clear that there still needs to be a community where responsible folks who aren't children can trade products to mutually grow collections. We do our best to take safety seriously over there and make sure people know what they're getting into. If any item label officials are watching this right now and want to have a conversation, my DMs are open. We want to let you know that we respect and understand position, especially now that online trading is becoming a bit taboo or fringe in this community. We can work with you if you need anything from us. Anyway, bottom line, don't be stupid.
Okay, so I actually got a typo on this. For some reason, I listed it as Doctor Item in the Iceberg. I don't know why. But these two were originally first seen in, I believe, like, pictures of plushies. I actually have them somewhere on my phone. I'll try to send them to Spaz if I can find them. And then in April, they made another appearance in that flash drive. And then they officially made animated appearances in UFO's theme. This is just one really funny item label video. Mr. Block U got popular from that one $19 Fortnite card meme. And he actually made a promotional item label short thing. It was really funny.
Peep this, homie. Guess who popped up on me? My peeps, the peepee. My homie, my peeps.
He has like some of the original peepees too. Dang, I'm jealous. He's got that celebrity blue. Mun appears for a few seconds in Night Night Wee Wee, and there's actually a bit of further documentation of Mun before the Night Night Wee Wee thing. So like, oh my god, where did Mun come from? Larva is this keychain that randomly comes with item label orders after AWR 2022. It's about, I'd say, a few centimeters wide. It has the face of a Series 2 Wee Wee, and it has a small squeaker like Mun, UFO, and Homie do. And I've tried getting one, but it's a bit of luck whether or not you get one, and I haven't had any. But on my birthday, one of my friends got me a Genius hat, and just by a coincidence, it came with the Larva patch. So I guess I kinda have it now. Item Label has its own holidays around December, which includes St. Wupchurt's Day, meant to honor the kind roofer St. Wupchurt. If you're good to your friends, St. Wupchurt will give you something really cool underneath your pillow, but if you're bad, St. Wupchurt will leak your ceiling with dirty water. And then there's William Tumbas Day, where on William Tumbas Eve, you have to protect your most innocent wee-wee in a fortified gingerbread house. Otherwise, Quill Slylock will spread mold all over your house and your innocent wee-wee. And on William Tumbas Day, it's the tradition to fork over your Christmas money to spend on itemLabel products. However, most of the stuff I believe is 20% off at around that time. And then there's Little Peepee Day, a day dedicated to the little peepees, like, the vinyl ones. As a matter of fact, are we ever getting like a series 2 to the vinyl peepees? Who knows? The big one is an earthquake that has a 70% chance of happening before 2030 as far as I can tell. It's supposed to be one of those California earthquakes with the San Andreas fault line, and it'll basically wipe out tons of areas. Like, my god. Spaz, look up a big one chart and you will probably be terrified. And there's a bunch of itemLabel related things with the big one. And funny enough, on their TikToks and stuff, when they've been posting about Joldaria, they actually showed what they believe will happen with Joldaria when the big one strikes. It will split apart and form a new archipelago. Homie will go extinct. Molly will be fine. Some parties might have trouble finding resources until the ecosystem reboots. PP will thrive in the environment, and Wee will probably be the same. Probably. The earliest documentation I could find of itemLabel was in 2018 on the Instagram account. However, I found Emma Mouse's YouTube channel, and watching through some of their videos, I found some pretty early documentation of Donuts from around like 2015 to 2016. So I think Donuts is supposed to be some kind of mascot for Emma Mouse's music, I believe. It's pretty interesting how, long Donuts has been around, though. And that's it for Tier 4 of the itemLabel Iceberg. Thank you for letting me record Part 3 and 4, Spaz. It was fun. And, yeah, I also got my own YouTube channel, as you probably know already. And now I go, off the grid.
And that's it for Tier 4. Thanks for sticking the end, folks. I really appreciate all of you. Also, I want to say thank you for 500 subscribers. What the hell? I really don't know what to say. For risk of sounding selfishly selfish, I honestly didn't start this series for attention. I started it because something like this hasn't been done for itemLabel yet, and I wanted to pitch into the wonderful community or help organize any information. I'm so glad so many of you have found this series helpful and entertaining, and please let me know what you all would like to see more of in these videos. After all, this series is for you, not me. itemLabel is one of my favorite things right now, so it feels so rewarding getting to share it all with you. And hey, hopefully this can be a motivator for you. If you see something that hasn't been done yet, go for it. Everyone says this, but it really is as easy as just recording something and putting it out there. This mic I'm using is one I got for Christmas years ago, and the program I'm using to edit this video is open source. Again, I can't thank all of you enough. It's been a pleasure producing content for you. Here's to many more videos. Take care, all.